What's up, guys, and welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we are gonna do something new. So far on the channel, all we've done is uploaded some cracking videos of sacred, ancient, and void shards. Today we're gonna kind of mix it up. I saw today on Twitter that there's a new update coming out, 3.20. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a first look at it, my thoughts, and an overall kind of like a rating on what's to come for Raid. I haven't really looked at the champions yet. I read through this, I skimmed through it real fast, so this is pretty much my very first impressions on this new update and this new patch. So let's get right on to it. So apparently we've got some new champions coming out. They start off with saying that there is some quality of life improvements coming out. Daily login rewards are coming, but they're going to be permanent. So I'm curious to see what that means. But we have new champions right off the bat, right off the top right here, so let's go through those real fast. King Garog is an attack-type champion. Attacks one enemy 2 times, 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. This chance increases to 50% of the target's turn meter is equal or below 50%. Then, of course, once leveled up, some more damage. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Each critical hit has a 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of Goremaker by 1 turn. That seems pretty. If you crit rate him out, that seems pretty solid. It doesn't give us how many what the turn cooldown is, though. It does give us like it minuses 1 once you have it fully booked out. But let's see. Attacks all enemies will ignore 20% of each target's defense. Will ignore a further 5% of defense for each buff on the target. And then his passive is increasing this champion's speed by 6 and crit damage by 7% for each enemy this champion kills in a round. Stacks up to plus 30 speed and plus 35% crit damage. Stacks reset the champion is killed. Whenever an enemy champion is revived, fills the champion's turn meter by 30% for each revived enemy, then places a 50% increased attack buff. This guy seems kind of broken from my first couple thoughts about it. First of all, seems super good for Arena. Secondly, I'm wondering if the spiderlings from Spider count as an enemy dying, because that would be crazy. Because then he would pretty much get that stacked speed and crit damage throughout the whole encounter, right? With Spider, if you kill the spiderlings, you know what I mean. And the fact that his A3 attacks all enemies and ignores 20% of each target's defense, that seems pretty solid for Spider as well. First thoughts. First, seems pretty solid. Seems like a 7 or 8, but this is just literally based off of just what I'm reading. So who knows? Maybe he's actually dog, and once he actually gets like put into the game, he might not actually synergize well with anybody. Anyway, let's move on. We got Roxanne. He's a Affinity Magic type attack, and the faction's Lizardmen. Huh. Chroma Shift attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of filling this champion's turn meter by 10%. Also has a 50% chance of placing a perfect veil buff on this champion for 1 turn if attack is critical. I wish it would give us the how often, the cooldown for each of these A1, A2, A3, and all that good stuff. Also, this guy doesn't have an aura, so that's interesting as well. It's kind of a ding on him a little bit, but attacks one enemy, fills champion's turn meter by 50%, has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff on the target for 1 turn when attacking while under a veil or a perfect veil buff. Has 75% chance to place a sleep debuff. Place a perfect veil buff on this champion. Lots of text on this one. So we're just going to kind of run through it real fast. Tackle enemies, 70% chance to place a 6% decreased defense debuff and a 20% weakened debuff. That's pretty solid. Kind of weird. Kind of a weird thing for an attack champion. But it's giving me some Royal Guard vibes. You know what I mean? They put the defense down on him, as himself. Attacks one enemy has a 75% chance of placing a 20% chance of under a veil or perfect veil buff. Interesting. Okay. So I'm curious. I could see this synergizing well, and I could see it failing. Right. His passive is places a block debuff and 25% strengthened buff on this champion for 1 turn, and 15% continuous heal buff for 2 turns whenever they receive a veil or perfect veil buff. So it seems like this all kind of works off of his A1, right? Attack one enemy has a 50% chance, and then also has a 50% placing a perfect veil buff on. That's so interesting. So apparently, it's attacking while under veil. Yeah. So you need this to hit. Otherwise, the rest of his stuff is super weak. Ugh. And increases ally crit rate and Doom Tower battles by 23%. Seems like this guy is kind of tailored for Doom Tower from what I'm kind of reading here. Seems mediocre, not gonna lie. But again, that's just my first impression. Going off of nothing else outside of that. Iron Brago, we're gonna kind of speed this up a little bit. I don't want this to be too long of a video, so we're going to kind of skim through these a little bit and give the first impression. Let's see. Attacks one enemy has a 20% chance of decrease in duration of all buffs by 1 turn. Places a 6% increased defense buff on all allies. He's a defense type. Affinity Spirit, Faction Orcs. Sorry, I forgot to go over that. For 3 turns, that attacks one enemy has the same percentage of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. Has the same percent chance of placing a stun debuff for 2 turns instead of target is under 2 or more buffs. Jesus Christ. Okay, lots of text for this. For these champions this time around. Tackle enemies has a 50% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. Also places a 50% decreased attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns if Iron Brago is under increased defense buff. His passive is increase the defense of all allies by 10% of this champion's defense. And then seems like another Doom Tower-esque sort of champion. Let me know if you agree or not down in the comments below. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Leave a like if you like this type of video. Again, this is kind of a different video for the channel. I might do this for every patch that comes out. I'm kind of trying to figure out what I want to do for raid content. I'm also trying to avoid, apparently, someone swinging at me. Anyway, let's... I don't know. Again, this seems mediocre to me. It seems like they're really trying to push out champs for Doom Tower, which is understandable, seeing as how that is the new... the new thing to do in raid right now, so it makes a lot of sense that they're putting out more champions for that, and more like chase champions for you to get to make your Doom Tower, progressing through the Doom Tower, a little easier for you. All right, so Melga Steel Girdle, she's an epic spirit type HP dwarf. Okay, attack one enemy has 50% chance of removing 1 random debuff from a random ally. Okay. Place a shield buff on all allies equal to 20% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. That's also solid for Doom Tower. There's I can't remember the name, but that the boss where if you don't have a shield on, he continues to attack you over and over again. It's eluding me right now, but yes, that would be really good for that boss. Also places a 50% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. Seems like a solid support champion right here for sure. Revives 2 random allies with 20% HP and 20% turn meter. Once it's ascended, revives 2 random allies with 20% HP, 20% team meter. Also places a shield buff on revived allies for 2 turns equal to 30% of their max HP. Oh wait, is that the turn? So every 5 turns and then every 3 turns she's putting. Oh, that's really solid. Under our aura increases increases ally HP in all battles by 15%. I wish I could speak right now. I'm kind of hyped for this. I'm kind of hyped for an update. It's especially the quality of life ones, which is why I actually read the most, so I know what those are. I'm actually really excited for those ones outside of the champions, right? Super solid support champion in my opinion. The fact that it's 20% of this champion's max HP, you get her to over 100,000. That's a big shield you're putting on all of your allies every 3 turns once you have it booked out. That seems super solid. All right. If I had to do it out of 10, probably 8 out of 10. First thoughts, 8 out of 10, I think. All right, Chancellor Yasmin, rarity, epic, force, support, Bannerlords. Okay. Basic, attacks one enemy. Ascended, attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the target has no active buffs. For a support champion? For an A1? Meh. Heals an ally by 40% of their max HP, heals by 60% instead if the ally has 50% HP or less. Not bad. Is that every 2 turns, it looks like? If that's the turn count, which I think it is, or the cooldown count. My apologies, I didn't see that there before. I don't know how I missed it up here. Okay, there it is, because there's like a wall of text for these guys, that's why. So this is every 3 turns, and then that one, it doesn't say. So it must be like, it's always available. Interesting. Okay. Where are we at? Chancellor, right? Yes. And then has a 50% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, and then places a sleep debuff for 1 turn on all enemies who have active buffs. That seems She seems overall Not a huge fan. Not really a huge fan. Every 2 turns you're healing allies. That seems pretty solid, honestly. And that's plus 10 or what? Plus 20% once you have a complete booked out. So I guess the 60% heal every 2 turns, that's not horrible, you know. I'm just having trouble seeing. I guess that, you know, good support champion for just dungeons in general, really. I feel like there's a couple champions that do a little bit better, but you know how many? Yeah, we have to speed this up a little bit. Vogos, Spirit, HP, Undead Hordes, Epic. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of 1 random debuff on the target by 1 turn. Ooh, that's interesting. That can almost kind of be good for clan buff. Attacks all enemies have 60% chance of placing a provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Also has 60% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. All the targets that receive the provoke debuff from this skill. Whenever this champion attacks, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. Is attacked. Oh, is attacked. Okay. That's actually not awful. Okay, that's not awful. All right, kind of like that. A lot of support champions, it seems, this update. When attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. If the attacker is under provoke debuff placed by this champion, also has a 7% chance of blah blah blah. Jesus, freaking wall of text. Okay, not horrible, not great. Yeah, kind of in the 6 to 7 area for me on that one. I don't know. I'm just I'm like off the cusp. I'm trying to think of things where I would use these champions for. I'm struggling to find, but of course, then again, I'm basing off my account, you know. So, you know, maybe maybe like a early to mid level account, pulling her would probably be pretty solid, right? Let's see. Epic, Magic, Attack, Barbarians. Attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn. And, oh wow. Okay, that's whenever. Okay. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased debuff for 2 turns. Steals 7.5% of the turn meter from targets under decreased defense debuffs. That's solid for Spider. Love it. That's really good, actually. Every 3 turns you're doing that once she's booked out. Really solid. Decrease the turn meter of all enemies by 20%. Has a 75% chance of placing a stun debuff on for 1 turn on enemies who have their turn meters fully depleted. Again, awesome for Spider. Really, this seems like a Spider hero right here. And then the passive is fills the champion's turn meter by 10% each time an enemy receives a stun debuff. That really doesn't matter for Spider, but I'm liking her for Spider. She seems pretty solid for that, 100%. Epic Void, Support, Bannerlords. Attacks one enemy has a 40% chance of decreasing a target's turn meter by 10%. That's pretty solid. And then it goes up by 15% once it's booked out. I like that a lot. Attacks all enemies has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Also place a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. She's a solid support champion. I'm liking her a lot. Every 3 turns you're doing that. That's solid. Revives all dead allies with 75% HP, then fills their turn meters by 50%. Also places a 60% increased defense debuff and a 25% strength buff on all allies for 3 turns. Super solid. Love it. Increased ally speed in Doom Tower by battles by 24%. Also solid. Really solid. Like it. 7-8. Solid. Anax, Epic, Spirit, Attack, Undead Horde. Attack 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Not bad. Attack 1 enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 7% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff and a 5% poison debuff for 3 turns. You're doing that every 3 turns, right? If you book it out. So that seems pretty solid. Kind of like that for Clan Boss, actually. Attacks 1 enemy has 75% chance of placing a 25% weakened debuff for them. Heals this champion by 50% of the damage inflicted. Seems okay. Passive and places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 2 turns when their HP drops below 75%. Increased attack. Active effect grants an extra turn when the champion's HP drops below 10%. Mediocre. Give it a 5. Nothing's really jumping off at the page at me. Spirit, Attack, Barbarians, and Epic. Okay. Attack 1 enemy has a 40% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense. A lot of defense down champions this patch. Holy crap. Debuff for 2 turns. Pretty solid. Attacks 1 enemy has a 75% chance of placing an HP burn debuff. That's really good for Doom Tower. I know there's a boss where you have to have HP burn on him in order to kill him. Places a 30% increased crit rate buff and a 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all allies except this champion will attack 1 target enemy. Ooh, that's kind of good. So that's every 4 turns once they have it booked out. That's pretty solid, actually. Because So you give them all crit rate and crit damage, right? Which, I mean, honestly, you can't really rely on that. You can't run crit rated people out on a team with him because it's only for 3 turns, right? And it's only going off every 4. So then, you know what I mean? The timing might get mixed up. They get messed up if, you know, it doesn't go right. But then all allies except this champion will attack 1 target enemy. That sounds pretty solid, actually. And that's every 4 turns. Deflects 20% of incoming damage this champion receives onto all allies. Ugh. Let's start equally across all allies. That's, you know, I mean, he's an attack champion, so I guess that kind of makes sense. You can make him into a super glass canyon. Give him a 6. Duck the Pierced attacks one enemy 2 times. Each has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff. Attacks all enemies has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Kind of liking her for Arena already. Places a Provoke debuff for 1 turn on the target enemy. Also has a 75% chance of placing a Provoke. I didn't realize there's this many champions. Debuff for 1 turn on 2 random enemies. Reflect damage buff on this champion. Unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn. Not bad. Every 4 turns that's happening. Every 3 turns that's happening. Not bad. Give her a 6 probably. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Alright. Let's just fly through these real quick. Sanguina. Magic support. Sacred Order. Interesting. Attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of decrease in duration of 2 random buffs on target by 1 turn. Block debuffs on all allies for 1 turn and 50% continuous heal. Attacks one enemy has a certain chance of transferring all debuffs and champion to the target. Removes all debuffs from the allies except this champion. Another Doom Tower champion with the aura. Not bad. I like it. And attacks one enemy 3 times. I kind of like that for Fire Knight. That seems kind of solid. And then her supports are not bad. Her, you know, for a support, her abilities aren't horrible, right? Old Hermit Jorg. Epic magic support orcs. Attacks one enemy has a 30% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. Again, good for Doom Tower. Places 50% increased attack buffs on all allies for 2 turns and fills the turn meters of all allies by 20%. Solid support. What's that? Every 3 turns. That's pretty solid. Revives 2 random allies, so he's got a revive as well. Not as good as the revive above, and it's every 5 turns once it's booked out. Not horrible. Ugo. Attacks one enemy has a 35% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. The chance increases by 5% for each alive enemy. Ooh, placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. Interesting. That's interesting. Magic support organ tribe. Okay. Attacks all enemies has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased debuff. I'm kind of liking him for Spider, just by reading all this stuff. Removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, and removes 1 random debuff from the allies, and heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. That's solid. That's pretty solid, and that's every 4 turns. But if all allies are dead, revives them with 50% HP, and then fills their turn meters by 50% instead. I like that. Places a 30% increased speed buff and block damage buff on champion for 1 turn whenever the champion's last living ally is killed. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's an interesting passive. I kind of like that. On to the stuff I'm most excited about personally. There's a couple of champions that kind of get my rocks going, but this is the stuff that I really like. I like how they're giving you rewards every day, right? And you won't lose access. All daily login rewards will be available until now still remain. Final tier is merely added at the very end, much like we've done in the past. But once you finish out your daily login rewards, it'll restart. The final tier will reset and repeat after you've claimed the final reward. That's cool. You get a daily login reward no matter if you've gone, what, 240 is it, I think, if I remember right? It's been a while. You know, once you make it to that point, it's kind of nice to always have something that's coming at you every day that, you know, rewards you just for playing. It's nice. It's really good for free-to-play players, I think. Really, really nice. This is my favorite. You know what I mean? This is actually my favorite part of this. More slots for your champion collection and artifact storage. Champion collection will go up from 200 to 300, and artifact storage will go from 700 to 1,000. I'm wondering if you've increased your champion... Is that max? Is 200 max right now? I can't remember for the life of me. And clan boss battles will always start in manual mode rather than an auto battle. I kind of like that too. That's kind of nice. When I was trying to... Actually, the other day, when I was trying to test out a man-eater comp, and I wanted to, you know, start the cycle myself, I wasn't paying attention and I missed it, so I kind of just missed my, you know, I used the key I used the key and I missed like the first rotation, and of course it all got screwed up. So yeah, I like that a lot as well. Super hyped for the Champion Collection and the Artifact Storage. Honestly, that is my favorite part about this. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite part about this patch is going to be. I'm hearing it might drop on Thursday, but that is not confirmed by any means of the imagination. I'm excited. Leave a like, subscribe. If you like this type of video, let me know down below. Thanks for watching and have a great day. I hope you're excited as I am. This is really cool. They're still evolving the game, and that's neat. Thanks guys. Have a great day.